Hello friends, my name is Mollie. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. And today we're going to be doing a little reset together. This is a great way to prepare for the coming new year, reset our lives a little bit, find a little more of a direction. This is also something that I personally do when my birthday is around the corner to start my personal new year. And this is also something that you can do when you feel a little bit in a loss of direction, just to realign yourself. I personally get stuck pretty often throughout the year. Sometimes it is important to feel a little bit lost. It is an important part of finding the direction. You might be coming to an end of a new year or your own personal new year. It might be the end of one of your chapters like school or old work, and you're looking for a way to realign yourself, or even just to know if you're on the right path. For me personally, to invite new things into my life, to create clarity, it starts with an environment, and it starts with what surrounds me. And this is what we are going to be targeting today. We're going to be talking about your environment, how that affects you, and steps that you can take to create a fertile ground for your new beginnings. The first thing is a very important part of a reset, of creating that fresh page, and it is giving out your debts. Let me elaborate on what I mean when I say giving out debts. Obviously, a lot of us have financial debt, and this is not necessarily what I'm talking about. If you, for example, owe a project to a person. I'm a photographer and I do a lot of projects with different people. Some of those are paid, some of those are not paid. And for me to start a new year, to reset, really, I need to tackle all the projects that I've been having in the back end that I forgot about, and I need to give out to people little changes that I promised them. And that could be any kind of debts, whatever you owe people. Maybe it's an apology. It could be something where you feel like you owe someone something. Maybe it's actual money. Debt in general, whether it's financial or emotional, accumulates with time. Even if you don't directly notice it, it does create that mental load, that sense of heaviness that weighs you down daily, even if you do not notice it directly. And this is something that is not a good environment for new beginnings, for your personal goals. Any debt is the most important part to pay off in order to build wealth. So whether it's financial debt or it's an emotional one or object one, this is the first most important step to settle before you even think about building something meaningful and worthwhile. And again, just like with financial debt, the interest does accumulate with time. Eventually you pay way more than what you borrowed. Sometimes I think it doesn't matter, I don't notice it that much, but it does accumulate with time, this kind of weight of obligation, of the weight of owing something to someone. When I do pay off my debts, when I do get rid of that weight, it is the most beautiful, freeing feeling ever. So don't miss out on that. And some of it could be really fast. Maybe it's replying to that email or to that message or just sending a sorry text for that time. You can pause this video, do that, and come back so we can continue with you being ready for the next steps. So now that we got that over with, we are ready for the next step, and it is decluttering. Physical space reflects mental space. Decluttering is something that I started doing a couple of years ago with my journey into minimalism. And this is something that drastically started improving my life, where I started making space for things that are important for me and removing clutter that was just making me feel bad, taking up my time and space as well as resources. The decluttering process also taught me a lot about understanding what is important to me. This is a process that teaches you discipline to really determine what you want to prioritize, what serves you and what doesn't. That is a very important skill that comes in handy when you are doing your daily tasks. You have to decide what is wasting your time, what is not serving you, and what is important to you and part of your quality of life. Don't worry, don't get overwhelmed. I know it sounds like a lot because a lot of us have a lot of stuff just like I did and still kind of do. This is something that takes time and goes in stages and something we come back to over and over again, and it doesn't happen overnight. Decluttering really helps to cultivate that emotional relief because a lot of times the sense of being lost is coming from a place of everything overwhelming me, and I don't even notice how overwhelmed I am because everything seems so important, everything seems so loud. And by decluttering, by creating that space, understanding what is important to you personally and what is not worth your time and space, you are understanding your priorities, you're starting to narrow down your focus and create that space for what is important to you. Decluttering can be a very overwhelming process, especially if you've never done it before and you have a lot of things. It really does not have to be painful. In fact, this is something that nowadays I really enjoy. Trust me, you'll know what I mean when you do it. One way I personally do it, I collect all of my things things, put it on the surface so I can see everything, and go over different categories. Start with my clothing first. Just go over the things that I'm wearing and that I'm wearing the most. Ask yourself whether you've worn it in the past year. Most of the time, if you haven't worn it in the past year, this is not something that belongs in your closet. And that way you can go over the closet, purging the things that you're not wearing, purging the things that make you feel bad because you bought them just out of need to look like someone, but you're not really that person. Or maybe you're saving the clothes that were fitting your previous body, but not your body right now. This is something to, remove. This is not a functional closet if it has stuff like this. And same thing for shoes, same thing for personal care items. Maybe you can give out some things, maybe you can get rid of some old expired things, your makeup, your paper clutter, even your digital space is something that I love organizing, removing the apps that don't work for you, removing the photo clutter, there's apps for that, digitizing your paper documents whenever possible, and getting rid of the paper clutter. I know it's a lot and overwhelming, but you can set a timer for yourself for each category, around 15 to 30 minutes, just so you don't get overwhelmed and stuck. This is something that could really help you in the beginning. It doesn't have to take the whole day. Nowadays, I just do it in the evenings. I do parts at a time, and this is kind of an ongoing process throughout a few evenings, and you can find a pace that works for you. If you want to take a whole day and kind of tackle it all, I love that too. Make it sustainable for yourself. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. All of this is part of it, creating that space, creating that breathing room to invite the newness, to invite the freshness of your evolving self. Don't you feel lighter already? Just even going through this process mentally with me? I do. I feel lighter for you. This feels fresh. This feels not dusty, which leads me into the next step of our reset. And it is cleaning up. Imagine you're inviting the spirit of spring cleaning into your reset. And just like spring cleaning, we're preparing for a new season of your life, for the freshness to come into your life. What personally helps me to create the most fresh and productive environment, it is to start from top to bottom. We are dusting everything. Just go over everything with a damp cloth, unseen corners, behind the TV, all of those things that you breathe in. Just remove it all. Once you dusted everything, you can organize your items, you can vacuum, mop, just to clean all of the surfaces and create this clean space of a person that you are. I know that toilet needs washing. I see your dusty corners. I see those cobwebs. Just because you don't necessarily see it every day somewhere there under the table doesn't mean you're not breathing that in. Doesn't mean it doesn't create that space of stagnant energy, the dusty, crusty energy that we're trying to move away from. Cleaning is not something that maybe you like doing, but that is part of setting yourself up for success. Whether you like it or not, your environment is a reflection of your mental state, of you and your space within. Trust me, try it out. It does take a little bit of willpower, but this is something that creates an immense amount of mental clarity. And again, you can just put a timer for 15 to 30 minutes and it is that easy. It doesn't have to take a long time. Obviously, if you live in a mansion, that might take longer, but good for you. Good for you. If you want that beautiful life that I'm sure you want for yourself, you have to create an environment that invites that beautiful life. You have to be part of that beautiful life. You are the creator. So this is one of the steps to start participating in creating that beautiful, dust-free life for yourself. Congratulations! Now you paid off your debts, you decluttered, and you're dust-free. The 3D. Now you can see everything much clearer. Now you're in this beautiful space where you're ready for your new year, new chapter, to invite new opportunities, new plans and goals. Let the chemistry of your clean space do its thing with your mind. You might be asking, now what? And it's a good question. This is where I personally sit down on my clean, freshly dusted couch and start writing down my goals. And this is where we can start resetting our goals and realigning ourselves. I personally have my own goal setting routine that is productive and doable for actually achieving those goals. This is something that I can cover in one of the next videos. If you're interested, let me know in the comments if this is something that you would like to see. But we are already in a great space of mind and space of real estate. You are ready to greet the new beginnings. I'm so happy and excited for you. I feel good for you. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me for this video. It was really fun doing this whole process with you. I genuinely love doing those resets. It's something that brings me lots of clarity, lots of space and breathability, and I am genuinely very happy we got to do this together. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye!